Katie is tied up.
You're live.
Welcome, folks. This is House of Corrections and Institutions Committee. It is Thursday, May 14th. We have with us Eric Fitzpatrick from Legislative Council to help us with some wordsmithing. We looked for Katie. Katie's tied up this morning,
Great.
so we need some help.
Sure.
In section 1 on legislative intent,
Yep.
we have in lines 14 through 17, we're very clear that the department would not operate or staff the forensic facility, with the exception that if the facility is on a correctional campus grounds, that the outside of the perimeter of the forensic facility, the DOC would provide security.
Right.
Okay. We also want to allow DOC to provide we're calling it front of the house. I don't know if it would be security, but operations in terms of folks from the public coming in. Like if you go into a correctional facility now, there's staff, correctional staff at the front there. It's not your living units. It doesn't get into the correctional facility at all. They screen folks coming in. You put your personal items in a locker. They have you go through a metal detector. They screen you before you actually get into the guts of the facility. So for a forensic facility that's housed on a correctional campus, that DOC would also provide those types of services at the front end of that building.
Right.
They would not be in the living units. They would not be in the program units. They would not be in the cafeteria or infirmary in that unit.
Right.
So that's what we'd like, some language to also indicate that.
Is it just, would it be accurate to say that, because I see right now, like you were referring to on line 16,
Yeah.
that it says outside perimeter.
Right, which if they're on the facility, if the facility is on the grounds of a correctional facility,
Yeah.
you're gonna have the security outside to begin with
Right.
from corrections.
Yeah.
But within that building, there's gonna be people from the public coming and going.
Mm-hmm. So would it be accurate to say, to cover what you're intending to cover, may provide security services for the facility? Say right there before the word around. Could you say something like at the entrance to and around the outside perimeter of? Does the entrance to cover what you're trying to get at?
To the facility, at the entrance to the forensic facility.
Right. At the entrance to and around the outside perimeter of. But you know much better than I how these facilities tend to be laid out, so whether that covers kind of what you're wanting it to cover.
Is it just ingress, egress, or am I
It's
missing?
ingress egress.
Right.
Is into instead of to?
Yeah, into, it's not in, I mean, it's not to. It's
Admittance?
into,
Admittance, entrance,
admittance into the facility.
like that.
It's kind of a lobby area.
Right,
in a
right.
way. And then when you get past that, you go into a sally, you go in kind of to a sally port. It's a locked area you go into. You walk through a locked door, the door locks behind you. You wait for the door in front of you to open to get into the next part of the guts of the building, but you don't want DOC. You want DOC there to monitor the security of folks coming in.
Sure. Yep.
It's not the patients or the folks, the residents coming and going. So they might leave
At the admitting area of,
the facility, the forensic facility.
so
Yeah.
at the, so it,
Yeah,
same place. So you could say, may provide security services for the facility and they at the admitting area of and around the outside perimeter. So we're looking at something to add, a clause to add before the word around.
yeah,
Right.
at the admitting area of the facility. That's what we mean.
And, this is, although,
They control who goes in and out.
Yeah, they control who goes in and out. DOC, not necessarily residents, because they come in at different. They would come in, yeah. They would come, I mean, folks who are booked in a correctional facility do not come in that entrance.
Okay.
They come in at booking, which is behind the fence.
But who brings them in?
Police,
Right, so that's not DOC.
police. You know, they probably sheriffs. or something. It's around the facility. I mean, that's what happens with DOC when they bring in a person to be booked. They're not bringing them in the main entrance. We go in, we're in the back. Within the fence. We don't, that's not necessarily within the fence. So there is other places in.
yeah, I was
That has
looking
to
at
be
that.
put
Yeah,
this in.
Page 28, for example.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
I think there's one before that. Let me see, I indicated it.
That is one of the places that's.
Yeah, but I-
23?
There's another flag prior to that.
Yeah, that was in the definition area, if I remember right.
I think it is 28. Yeah, 28 is where it has the same language there that has to be corrected,
Mhm.
okay?
Right.
So that works. So then we have another piece too, to this. And that is on page 21.
Yeah, hang on, just making sure
Yeah,
before I
I'm
jump
gonna double
over.
check too.
Yeah.
Too.
Page 28, we just talked about. And page 20, twice on 28, no?
No, just
Hold on,
once.
hold on,
Well, yeah, on 21.
page 1.
Yeah, I was looking at 21 also.
It's 21 or
Well,
11 or
21
12.
is something a little different.
Okay.
Right.
21 is something a little different. I'm looking at the language. It's the same as the legislative intent language.
Okay.
And that's on page 28, lines 12 through 15.
Mhm.
That has to be corrected.
Well, it's on page 10, it's on line 10 too,
Of page.
28.
And 11.
And then again, 14, 15.
Yeah, this is where it gets into. So this is the feasibility plan. The fiscal and staff security plan within and around the perimeter of the facility,
Within covers it there.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
including therapeutic design. And then where it's highlighted in yellow, we pick up the language
Yeah,
that we're
yeah,
putting in
okay.
the pledge intent in the first page. Where it says,
We'll be adding the words at the admitting area,
yes,
two different places.
yes,
Mhm.
Yep.
okay,
At the admitting area and, sorry. Mary and. Well, anyway, I'll figure that part out. Okay,
so then the other piece that we've got, Eric, is on page 21. And it's also on page, also on page 27. This is lines 10 through 12 on page 21.
yep,
What we would like is, and this is all coming from, again, this is coming from House Judiciary, as well as the changes we just made. The Department of Corrections shall not play a role in the forensic facilities operation, the provision of services. Then the next thing is, we don't want DOC in those living units and therapy program areas, cafeteria, infirmary. So they're going to be at the front end of the building. So where it says or internal security,
mhm.
does that also encompass the front of the building that we just talked about? Because we don't want them in the living units. where folks are actually housed. There's gonna be program space, therapeutic space. There's gonna be a dining hall. I mean, those are under the jurisdiction of the Department of Health, Dale, Department of Health. We just want the security to be provided by DOC around the perimeter and at the front end of the building for ingress egress.
So I think we should say that there. Be more specific. I would say like the forensics facilities operation, I would just say only on the outside and only letting people in and out in the admitted.
But that's
Right.
language on the street. You gotta put. legal
Right.
language in.
No, but I'm saying even go back to like the first, or just leave it at operation. Yeah.
In other words, you're trying to make sure that the term internal security isn't necessarily inconsistent with what you just said about.
We want to make sure that they're not in living spaces or programming spaces. And I'm not sure if where it says or internal security, we're providing security internally at the front end of the building.
I mean, here again, I return to the notion of facility access, parentheses, ingress, egress. Does that not cover?
I don't know, ask Eric.
I think that would cover it. The concept, you mean, that it's an ingress egress kind of thing that you're.
And therefore,
They
no
are
less than the facility.
Right.
But by doing that, it doesn't, you know, our intent in terms of where to provide the security, right, Eric? From DOC.
Right.
And then you look on page 21. That it's up to the secretary of the agency to establish and operate the locked facility. And this is in the definition of the facility itself. And we want to make sure that DOC does not play a role in providing those program services or any services shall not play a role in the forensic facilities operation, the provision of services, or internal security. So by the term internal security, is that in conflict with what we want to do up front with the building?
Well, to be sure that it isn't. You could say something like. And is it security that we?
Should we
Maybe the
just
word be
eliminate
used-
internal security?
Yeah, that's one option. I was gonna say, you could say internal security comment and except to provide, and then reference what you just said. You know, except to provide admission, how do we phrase it? Except to provide security services at the admitting area.
It just,
But either way, you could,
you just add that language after internal security.
right. Would you also want to say, or does it, because I don't know about the word internal, but it could include the full phrase, like, except to provide security services at the admitting area and around the outside perimeter? Well, they could also, and it wouldn't work, I was going to say unless otherwise provided, but that's session law, so we can't really cross-reference that.
I liked what you just said before you said something about session law.
Right. Except to provide, just track the language that we were just looking at, except to provide security service at the admitting area and around the outside perimeter.
Yeah, I like to, why don't you add that, see, does that work for folks?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that also has to be added on page 27, because this is your feasibility plan. And lines 7, 8, and 9. That's the same language as what we just had in the definition of the forensic facility. See what I'm saying?
I do. That becomes messy because it's already an exception, the way that sentence is written.
With the exception,
Right.
that one should, shall not play a role. So with the exception, the department shall not play a role in its operation, the provision of services. Oh, okay,
So it's except.
yeah, I see what
Uh,
you're saying.
But I can figure out another way to phrase that.
Or internal security, would it be for? Would Hillary be able to help with this?
Other than, I can just say other than. Other than the
Oh, okay.
provision of security,
Yeah.
then go to
Yeah.
the
That
phrase.
works. Yeah.
Yep.
I know this is hard to follow for some folks, but it'll look okay when it gets to the end.
Well, better to see this stuff and address it now than wait until somebody either asks a question in the floor or it comes up in a court case.
Everybody gets a phone call in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, right.
So we took care of page 28. So on page 29, this is where we need some wordsmithing. We worked with Katie on this late yesterday afternoon, a few of us, and it just didn't kind of come together because we were all tired and quick and had to run to other things. So we said, let's put something in and then think it through. So the thinking is that this is really difficult to figure this out. So this is all in the interim. What do we do now before we get a forensic facility up and running? We have 4 or 5 people languishing, I'm going to say that word, in DOC. That competency has not been restored. There's no program in there to restore competency for them. But we want to be able to, in the interim, have the respective departments, mental health and Dale, and maybe Department of Health, provide restoration competency services to them. We don't want DOC involved in that. And we don't want the healthcare contractor that they have, WellPath, involved in that.
In the interim restoration services.
Because if you start involving DOC, then that just says, hey, DOC will be doing this long term. This is the interim. There's a lot of concern in the committee that we have folks there now getting no services. And people have testified to that effect. And sometimes those folks could be there for a year, they could be there for 2 years, they could be there for 3 years. One thought that some members had that we call it a restoration program, competency restoration program, and that it sunsets in 2028.
I don't think you need the sunset because you've already phrased it in line 2 as this is while the development of the facility is pending. So none of this would apply. And you might even, I look at that phrase as that, and aren't you really trying to say before the forensic facility is operational? That's what you're getting, right? Or before the forensic facility is accepting placements, because that's really specific, like before anybody can go there, you want this to be an opportunity. Once the facility could accept people, then this will go away. There wouldn't be any legal authority for it anymore.
So without the sunset, couldn't the civic interpret that as being a 100-year development of the facility?
Yeah, I suppose if it would, the ability to provide these services would last as long as the facility wasn't accepting people.
That,
Right,
That's the worry,
right.
that the feasibility plan now becomes not feasible because we've got this program in place that's working just fine.
Right. Well, then, yeah, if you want to be 100% clear that that wouldn't be possible, a sunset would certainly strikes me as the way to go.
So changing competency restoration services to competency restoration program. The other piece is provided an entity that is not under contract with DOC. I'm not sure how much the Agency of Human Services is involved in that contract with DOC with WellPath. And we really don't want WellPath to be providing these services. We want the appropriate departments, be it DMH or Dale or Department of Health, to be providing these services, this program. Sean?
And I'm not, I was just wondering, because I didn't hear her say it, but did Chair Wood agree with that? With who,
This-
is it, but that, this doesn't have anything to do with her.
No.
Okay.
This is all coming here from the committee in terms of what are we doing with the folks who are currently there and not
Right.
getting services. And we're saying to the administration, start providing services to them, but we
Right.
won't want DOC to provide those services or WellPath. We
Right.
want you to contract with WellPath. But your the respective departments, you need to pony up here and start providing these services
Yeah.
or this program. Because right now, there could be one or two folks who might qualify for Act 248. So they'd be working with Dale to get those folks out. But in the meantime, they're not getting any services.
Right.
They're not getting any program.
I've got 5 more minutes.
I
just to
know.
let You know.
Does that make it sense to this? That's what we're trying to get at. And I don't know. if you need
I
to-
didn't get the last point. No, I mean, I see what you're trying to get at, but nothing's occurring to me as far as language.
Supposed to be our savior.
Well, you gotta have a clear policy for me. So try and formulate it one more time.
Okay, so the clear policy is, we've got folks there now. Okay, that they're not getting any services. Restoration.
That part I get.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the issue. We want the respective departments in the Agency of Human Services, not DOC, to start providing those,
Right, right.
that program. And we want to make sure they don't go to WellPath to do that.
Right. So that's what you meant by this clause provided by an entity that is not under contract with DOC.
Right,
Okay.
but could the Agency of Human Services just go ahead and extend that contract with WellPath?
The way it's written, I have no idea what happens in reality. Who
I don't
who is it's under contract with WellPath now?
DOC.
And we could leave it like that and hold our nose.
You want AHS to be able to contract with somebody else, for example? If they had someone else?
Yeah.
Separate from whatever, who's ever currently providing medical services to the DOC. We don't want that entity also making decisions about competency restoration, which would increase the population. Yeah, the population. And got sunset, right?
Yeah.
It's really to make sure the well path isn't doing it.
Right.
I probably like how it reads, but the way it does read, does it limit it to the folks who would be eligible for the forensic facility otherwise? Or if you just say competency restoration services, does that include everybody who needs competency restoration? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, how many people are in there?
Maybe like 80 or something.
Well, I
like
know
that.
what you're talking about because it's bringing in all the folks that may have dementia, but they're not in there on a court.
Well, I'm talking about somebody who, I don't know, property crime, incompetent to stand trial. The way it's worded, they would be included in
Right,
that too,
it's
right?
not just
Yeah.
those folks that, for the bill itself.
Yep. Which I'm, to be clear, I'm good with, but that's a very different, yeah.
You know, it just, you know, this is all gonna go to conference. There's gonna be much more conversations on this.
And it's a plan, so if they think they
It's a
can provide
plan.
it for everybody, go
It's
for
a
it. That's-
plan. It's a feasibility plan.
You could also, to address that, maybe in the first line, opportunities and cost estimates for, and it says the forensic facility population. Well, in a way, there isn't a forensic facility population yet, right? But if you phrase it as for persons who would be eligible for placement at the forensic facility.
Sure.
Yes.
That narrows it.
Yes,
Yes.
because there isn't one yet, but you're
Right.
trying to get those folks who would otherwise be there to be, have this opportunity, right?
You are narrowing that down.
Yeah, did we decide, are we calling it on B, 12B, are we calling it services or program?
I think we're leaning towards program.
That's what I thought too, but we.
That's what I got.
Okay, you got,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Just kept saying services.
So do we want to keep it as it is on line 7? Provided by an entity that's not under contract with the DOC?
I read that as sufficient myself.
I do too.
You read that as what?
That's sufficient. Yeah, I agree.
And then you sunset it.
Yes.
In sunset.
So Eric, it's all up to you now.
What is the sunset though?
28, but when on 28, July 1st? Because
Yeah, I was just gonna do the date that mirrored.
it would be January 1st.
Yeah.
January.
Because that's the effective date of it.
May I be through? When does this committee decide whether we want to have 1 or 2 plans called for?
I've made my decision.
I
I
think
made
we
it yesterday.
decided.
I know you did.
Yeah.
But I don't think the committee has decided whether we want to call for 1 or 2 plans, one excluding DOC and one allowing DOC's involvement further. I would want to see 2 plans.
Other folks?
Okay, I shared my opposition to that. I think, but, you know, all roads lead to a unit in Springfield and WellPath providing the services. You know, if you give the choice between a DOC plan and a non-DOC plan, I think it could skew the report so that favoritism is moved to the DOC plan at the expense of the other plan.
Stand that risk.
Yeah, but I concur with you, Kevin, and I don't think it's any secret that I'm not supportive of the current proposal that's being hammered out right now.
Would this change your mind?
Possibly, yes.
So how much undue work, how much work is this going to create to the agency to do 2 separate plans? Just,
I got it about, so
okay,
I got everything, I think, so far. So I'll do a new draft reflecting what the committee just decided. Then if there's anything, but it's not gonna happen right now because I gotta go somewhere else anyway. So if you reach any other decisions about, hey, make such and such a change, feel free to shoot me an email or however it is you wanna.
Mhm.
And actually, when you do that, might as well send it to both Katie and I.
Okay.
Just because that way, because we're both kind of working on it as time allows, so. That way we both know what to do. And we'll figure out who does it.
Thank you.
Perfect. Hey, thank you.
Eric, you might want to get some of that on a drive before you hurt your back.
Yeah, I know exactly. I should get like a dollar. Right?
I will just reiterate the point that I've already made a number of times. There is already a plan in place to do this through the Department of Corrections. That plan exists. It's already there. We are asking them to come up with a plan that separates us from DOC. That is all this bill is doing. It's all it's doing. So, and we just gave them permission. We just added it to the bill. We just gave them permission to start doing competency restoration within the correctional facilities. That is a huge concession for me. Huge. I want to know that the Agency of Human Services can also consider a forensics facility that is separate from the DOC, which is best practices. That's what I want.
And I want to see both.
We have it. It's right here. We just handed it to them.
Alice just said, do you know how much work it will take to put that plan together?
That's what I'm going for.
And I'm not worried about how much work it takes, because this is a big enough issue. They need to go through the work to figure out what's the right answer. You
This
use the word
is-
right.
This is a competency restoration program in our correctional facilities. That is what this bill is right now, as we've written it. I also want to know, what does a forensic restoration program look like that is separate from the DOC? We are giving them.
No, you're hamstringing them. You're telling them what
We
they
are-
can and cannot do. You're even identifying who can provide the services for therapeutics.
We
You're
have-
hamstringing them in this.
You're
rather than
changing,
giving
you're
them
moving the
a-
goalposts now, Kevin.
Oh, that's
right
fine.
now,
That's what
this
we're doing.
bill-
This is a goalpost. This is one that I'm gonna die on the hill for, because.
Then vote no.
Oh, I will.
It's his no or mine now.
Well,
So
it's
what
fine.
the bill does, it came over with DOC being in control and the medical provider being under DOC. The other committees have changed that to the Agency of Human Services because they did not support DOC being in the driver's seat. So that is a decision that's being made also from other committees. And we're thinking, let's really figure out how we're going to do a forensic facility. We want to do what is right. We want to provide services and programs to folks, either to help them gain competency or not. And we're saying, come back with a plan that dovetail the changes that were made in the bill. So the changes went from DOC to the Agency of Human Services. And our feasibility plan tracks that. So that's what's before us.
Kevin, what you're talking about, what you're asking for, is it more of a logistics question? Is it more of a money question? Is it both? What's the?
All of the above. If we make it too small, what the rock is they're looking for, they're gonna come back and say it's not feasible. If we have an opportunity to see something that's more feasible, then that's better than nothing. Because right now we have nothing.
We have fixed that.
We fix that in the, we fix that in the definition of forensic facility. We have fixed that in terms of the Judiciary Committee has worked really hard to figure out when someone is in the forensic facility, what their rights are, what the process is, what the state's rights are. They've worked with the courts in terms of when a person should stay in the forensic facility or when they are released. They've worked with the process for a person to be released, monitoring. We've worked on the definition of the forensic facility. We've expanded that definition quite a bit based on previous legislation that was done. And we're saying to the Agency of Human Services, come back with a plan. Because we want to do this, but come back with a plan that's workable. And you have to include what the facility is going to look like, who's going to operate it, the cost of construction and operations of that. And we've also addressed what would happen in the interim before a facility is up and running. So our language tracks what the other committees have been working on.
I have a concern that isn't even about who's right or wrong. It's about logistics. We all talk to people, we all try to find out stuff. Sometimes we talk more than others. I have very good word that it won't make it out of judiciary with our amendment, whether I like that or not, doesn't matter. And I
That it
have
won't make it out of judiciary, what?
with ours or upstairs amendment. Because they're 5-5. Unless you pass the bill out with a tie. So that's a logistical reality. I have it on extremely good word that the governor won't support it with this language. So then we're stuck with nothing. Versus taking these two steps that I've advocated for and then saying, let's separate it and do the other part later, but saying in real strong words that it's gonna happen. That doesn't mean I agree or disagree. That's solely just talking about logistics and what I'm being told. And I normally try to stay out of that stuff, but I'm worried because I want those two provisions. And I don't want something gone because of
You
those
want
not
what
being-
two provisions?
the having it put in statute that we can hold people that are incompetent, which right now we can't, and that we have the restoration. Those are the most important part to me, but I also, as I've advocated for, said I want a longer term plan, not longer term plan. To have a facility, which we've done, but it's kind of the way that other people, doesn't matter how I view things. They don't view it as being two separate things, as being tied together. And I can't speak for other people. I only know what I'm being told by people who do have votes. And I'm concerned that, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't go anywhere, then obviously whoever wants to have a campaign about it can have a campaign about it. It won't be me. But I would like to see those things done. Those are important to me.
Sorry, James, can you say what the deal breakers are that you referred to? Is there a certain thing or things?
My understanding, and I always hate speaking for other people.
Yeah.
Is that we're first of all, the DOC not being involved is a problem for a lot of people.
But we
What-
did address that. There were concerns in House Judiciary about that.
I just
And we
really,
did address that. And according to the chair of House Judiciary, that is very helpful. And those were the two areas, was the monitoring and the front end of the building, the periphery and the front end of the building. That was what the chair of Judiciary indicated.
the conversation I just had is where I came from. And I'm not telling anybody how to vote, and I never have and I never will. I'm just telling you what I hear and that I purposely went to ask because I don't want this to die. And that's, we still have to do is sure you say it all the time, we have to vote our values. That's true, no matter where the chip or whatever is links. That's absolutely true. Just telling you what logistics seems to be out there. And I'm concerned about that. And I don't have any power to make anybody change minds.
So I heard level of DOC involvement. Was that the one thing or are there?
I think the separating it right now rather than having some kind of plan for later. I think it's, I can't speak
Separating what?
the facility out of the DOC facility sooner than maybe they
We
would.
fixed that. Right now, as written, with our amendments from yesterday and today, this bill would allow forensics competency restoration program to begin within our correctional facilities. It would.
Right now.
That's what we just handed them.
Yeah.
The governor wants to veto that. That's on him. I do not like doing what if legislation. I do not. I try to get a bill out of here that does what we want it to do. Right now, if passed, this would allow competency restoration services to be provided to those who need it, those who are defined by this bill within our correctional facilities. That would happen upon signing. And it asks the agency to also contemplate a forensics facility that ultimately pulls it out of DOC. What would that look like? How feasible is that?
Huh?
Yeah, I would just say personally, I've made a concession both on the field piece with probation and parole, having some involvement, and the front of house, solely to alleviate some of the concerns of judiciary, so I think we are moving a little bit here, and I don't like those things, but I will vote for it as it is right now, But I can't go any further.
I mean, the feasibility plan will come back and say, this isn't gonna work. They could say that.
Mhm.
They could say that.
Mhm.
And there's check-ins with the Justice Oversight Committee in August and November. And again, the folks that make up the Justice Oversight Committee, the policy committees, other policy committees are working on this. And the other policy committees have some pretty strong feelings too. And somehow this has got to come together. The other thing, regardless, this is going to go to conference committee. And it will be negotiated in conference. That's going to be the bottom line. That's going to be the bottom line. And it will come out in a very different form. That's how the process works. That's how the process works. We're gonna have to figure some of this out, folks, because House Judiciary is waiting for some language. If we don't provide any language, I don't think I want to leave it to another committee to make those decisions on our behalf. Do we?
That would be irresponsible.
That would be what?
Irresponsible.
It'd be very irresponsible.
I'm asking if the committee make a decision as a committee as to whether we ask for one or two plans. Not based on hearsay from anybody else. I want this committee to decide whether we have one or two plans.
We can take a straw vote and see where we are.
There you go. I might be the only one. It's fine.
So give her 2 plans. All those opposed to 2 plans and keep the language that we have.
I think we somewhat have one. It's already there saying to go forward, and I'm not sure, Kevin, and I'm not being funny here, I'm just not sure what else you're looking for. I mean, I'm not necessarily thrilled with what it says right now, but I think that is another plan,
I know.
because it has,
Yes, I'm asking for 2 plans. One that says, any way you want to do it, solve the problem. And this that says, any way you want to do it, but you can't use DOC other than these narrow ways. Those are the 2 plans I'd like to see.
Well, my concern is that, okay, so I think there's concurrence that providing therapeutic services within DOC is far from the best outcome. Everybody, if money were important issues. In the feasibility plan or if there weren't some more flexibility provided in what that may look like, it's almost certainly going to come back saying that it's not feasible. And so we're going to go to the default of what everybody knows is not particularly therapeutic. I didn't go on all the field trips with it, but we were in Northwest for how long? A couple hours. And I had mental health problems then. Seriously, I felt claustrophobic. And so that's where I'm coming from, which is, I think, I don't know if that's similar to Kevin or not, but if we're tailing a plan that we know is probably just not going to have funding for, frankly, but that's all it's going to be is a plan, and it's never really going to be actualized.
We have heard legislators next session. So I want to finish the straw vote. We had 3 in favor, all those opposed. The 2 plans.
and
I'm still thinking.
it's still challenged because
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think there is literally a plan kind of on the table right now with us continuing with DOC and adding the restoration. And you kind of shook your head when I said that. You said yes. The other plan would be the new plan that's being somewhat looked at or discussed here as to how we go forward with possibly not having DOC involved. So I'm struggling because I'm thinking there are technically two plans right now.
We've developed the plan that sort of integrates DOC. I want those experts who are putting this plan together to have free will to do what they think is best and feasible. We've developed this plan ourselves amongst, and we are not in a position to do that. We've hamstrung them for the interim, and I'm happy with that because that's better than what we currently have. But for the future, long term, I want them to have a blank piece of paper that says, do it any way you want.
They did that. It's S-193, as it was introduced in the Senate. And then the Senate worked on it in terms of Senate Judiciary. And then there was real concerns about being under the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections. And there were other legislators in the Senate that worked on this and really put more guardrails around it. And then the bill came over here. So the plan has already been presented that it will be with DOC. We're saying, let's look at another alternative before we go down that road.
Well, I guess for me, Kevin, a true question is, if we're saying do this in the interim until whatever date we said, January 1st, 28, does that not then provide by default the information that you seek? Because that will show us what logistics they would use because it is allowed to be in DOC. That would show us the cost because they will be running it for however long.
No, because this is strictly going with incompetent and insane with charges that are life sentences. I want to see a plan that takes care of all the people who have this disability. And I think that needs to be in the plan, not just for the 7 people that we have over here.
But that larger scope, and I will push back on that part, is
Yep.
not part of this bill. I get it,
Yep.
that's gonna make it, I think that someday we should do that, but that's another example of what I was talking about, look, we're expanding a little much. And that's another example of expanding too far outside the parameters.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that also expands beyond 2 plans, right? Because then we're almost talking about a 3rd plan if you start talking about incorporating a different size population.
But my favorite question is what was page 27, number 12? I don't have the bill in front of me right now.
Is there ringing a bell?
Just to, explore whether or not some kind of interstate compact situation were feasible.
That's in there, right?
Folks can, I know that it's in there. That's what I'm saying. And then
I asked you.
That's another plan that's in there.
Right.
I'm cognizant of that.
That language,
Let's see. Now it's page
29.
29, number 12, nonetheless. Okay, anyway. We're speaking well of that piece. So I think that would, if were that possible, that's probably the best possible outcome that I could see through all these conversations. Is this your copy?
It's Will's.
Yeah, whatever comes out, I'd like to hear that too.
Right.
So where are we, folks? Because we've got Eric doing new language. It's going to work with Katie to figure it out. I'll bring you up to speed. And then we've got to make a decision and we've got to say what our decision is to House Judiciary. So where are we, folks?
I can support it as written.
Oh, what fun.
I've lost plenty of votes. One more won't hurt my feelings, but I want to vote. I've got 2 people who haven't voted yet.
We're a committee. We're going to disagree. So I want to put on the table.
Well, I wish all of our members were here. This is,
They haven't heard a lot of the
we
conversation.
haven't
either.
heard, well, I understand, but that is a problem.
It's a problem.
Has been a problem all year.
Timing's a problem too, a lot of problems, but we've got people here and I believe we need to vote on this.
My vote is I'll support it coming out either way.
You're
I
what?
support it coming out either way, with the second study or with the first study. You put one of those motions on the table and sure.
Well, I don't know what to do, folks, but we're gonna have to get off the dime.
Where are you at?
Something.
When are we gonna have the final?
With Eric,
Yeah,
sometime this afternoon,
Okay.
I would assume.
And are there other changes? Because I said that yesterday. This has nothing to do with this.
I'll
I
talk,
want to know what the other changes are. from
Like
the
that.
others.
yeah, I'll talk to Martin.
You gotta go, Bill?
Because I may not be able to support it.
so that's my other question. Are
But
we,
where's Joe going?
when we do our straw poll here, are we voting on just the language we introduced, right?
Just our version.
Yeah.
Because the other parts were all done by other committees.
Yeah.
So it's just our
Right, but
version, but Mary wants to see how it's
No, I got it.
interconnected, so.
If you can have something said by one of the other committees that implodes what we've done, I need to see it hand in hand going across whatever we do. And I think that's what I'm struggling with.
Let me have a conversation with Martin and Teresa where they are on their differences, because they have some differences there with IDD folks.
Mhm.
You talk with them. And let Eric do the new language. Where,
Is there a way we can get our committee members in this room and sit there to listen to what's going on so we can make hopefully an informed decision?
they've lost so much time on testimony, I'm fine.
A question too, let's assume this ends up in a committee of conference, which seems to be the assumption.
Yeah,
So our committee will have representation on that committee of conference.
we hope, I don't know, yeah.
Well,
I would hope it would.
I would hope it would.
and I would assume that representative of this committee would represent this conversation in its fullness. Yes? Great.
That's the process, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's a process. I think sometimes people in life represent themselves instead of remembering that they
No,
represent.
you represent the committee.
Yeah.
You
Dose of cynicism,
represent
yes.
That's an
You
awesome
represent,
question.
you represent the committee and you represent the House position.
Yeah.
Just as the Senate would represent their committee and the Senate position. Then you negotiate. So we've got some folks here on another topic. Welcome to House Institute Corrections and Institutions Committee. You may operate the same as your committees, or it may operate totally different. You have some, we're gonna shift gears for folks. We have a resolution that was sent to us. It's being treated as a bill. I know this is new for some folks.
I get it. I'll be right back.
Getting ready to turn the clock. And this was introduced by the two members of this district, Representative Noyes and Representative Bailey from Hyde Park and Representative Noyes from Wolcott. This pertains to a house that Julian Scott grew up in. Julian Scott did the paintings in the Cedar Creek room. Yes, there's three. Is there three of them still? I know there, yeah. I hope we get that. So I don't know if you both want to come up, how you both want to do this. We have a little fold-out chair if I.
Yeah, Joe might return.
He'll be back, so Dan, why don't you pull up
I can do that.
the fold-out chair?
You're taking leads.
I'm fine. Have a seat.
And if you both would, when you get settled,
Fantastic.
introduce yourselves.
All right, for the record, Dan Noyes from Wolcott.
For the record, Richard Bailey from Lamoille 2, Hyde Park.
Hi, welcome. So if you could.
Hey, fantastic.
walk us through what the resolution.
Yeah, so basically what I've never had to present on a resolution that is becoming a bill because I think this is not very common. And the reason it happens is because we're asking the legislature to do something, which is saying, give the community some more time to figure out what we're going to do with this building. So let me back up. This is the building that Julian Scott, who painted the big painting in the Cedar Creek room, Medal of Honor, in the Civil War, and the house got flooded in 23, and it was just my notes here, sorry. Yeah, so the house was flooded and the town included it in the FEMA buyout. There's a number of houses in town that got bought out. There wasn't a lot of discussion that this was a historic, significant house. It in fact was listed on the report under a different name, not Julian Scott's house. It was the owners of the house. The town continued through with the buyout because, quite honestly, if they didn't, then the individuals who actually own the house now would not have gotten any buyout money or anything. And that might not be good for them because they couldn't live there anymore because it's in the floodplain and keeps flooding. So as this progressed through the buyout process, and then it happened, the people that owned the house were paid. There was some outreach to local media. I don't know if anyone saw the report there was an article in 7 Days. And so the town has typically once one of these buyouts happens, you have to destroy the house, get it out of the floodplain, and then nothing can be done on that property. Kind of in perpetuity, just says this is floodplain. We can't be building housing there anymore, obviously. And so what we're saying in this resolution and what the town is saying is give us some time. Let's see if we can figure out like what it is we can do to either disassemble this house and use the pieces elsewhere, move it, who knows, but don't knock it down, put it in a dumpster. Because that's kind of what is going to happen.
So the resolution, it's basically the resolve clause that we need to go to.
Pardon me?
It's the resolve clause that we really need to go to. That indicates that the legislature would support the town of Johnson
Yep.
in the effort to preserve this building and to have the Division of Historic Preservation work with the town.
Mhm.
Has the town reached out to the Division of Historic Preservation?
Yes, they have. And the emergency management is going to meet with the select board next Monday.
So is there any indication of where the Division of Historic Preservation is on this?
I think we're going to find out more on Monday. I mean, there's one of those historic signs in the front yard of this place. You know, one of those green, it's right in the front yard,
One of our green signs.
Yeah.
Green markers.
right there.
How long has that sign been there?
That's a good question. It looks like it's been there a while.
While, so First, James.
When you
and
said
then Sean.
emergency management, do you mean FEMA or your
FEMA.
town?
Yeah, the state.
It's
the
state or FEMA? FEMA did the buyout.
FEMA did the buyout, but I think the state is going to the town on
Okay.
Monday night to the select board.
And then I have a question for
But FEMA has given some time.
The state being Division of Historic Preservation.
I believe it's
that's one of the questions.
I think it's emergency management people that are going, but I will double check.
Or was
with
it
them.
the Doug Farnham with the,
Yeah,
Is it Doug
someone who
Farnham?
works with Doug.
oh, all right. So that's not emergency management.
Sorry.
That is specifically an part of the state administration that is working directly with FEMA to negotiate the buyouts and other, like the Capitol complex. It's
Right.
Doug Farnham and it's Eric Philcorn that are working right now on behalf of the state.
Yeah.
With FEMA. It's a direct connection.
So my next question is more to you, Alice. I know, it's scary. So what is it, or what do you think it means by the that we support the town of Johnson's efforts, et cetera? Like, does this mean that let's say they get Division of Historic Preservation to put it on a list? Does that mean that and I don't have a problem with this, I just want to know if it's the case, that we will, through that entity, help pay for and maintain this building in the future like we do with some other buildings, or does it mean something completely different? I just don't know what it means as far as our obligations. I'm not necessarily opposed to that, by the way, because it's an important figure. I just don't know what it means.
Right.
For what we have to do.
I'll tell you what I think, but
For it.
I think that's why this resolution turned into a committee bill, into a bill, so that you could have some discussion around what that means. I know we had a resolution in our committee recently, and we made some changes on it, and it was a bill that's been on the floor around helping people communicate with communication. What does support mean? Back to your question, I think maybe perhaps give the community some time to figure out what we're going to do with this, what we can do with it. And does it mean give us money? I don't think that's really going to happen, but could it mean, hey, partner with us on some grants, help us figure out like what we need to do in order to preserve, or what the community needs to do to preserve this?
If you just look at the language I'll be right there, Eric. It directs the Division of Historic Preservation town.
Yeah.
And then also for the governor to declare public endorsement of the
Right.
initiative. So it's really not clear. Work with the town, but it doesn't mean that historic preservation takes over that building.
Correct. Troy.
Just want to make sure I'm clear on a few things. The previous owners, family, they're paid, that's not at risk. It's active, right?
They're done.
Okay.
The town owns the building now.
And does FEMA require the destruction of the house?
Correct.
And if we don't destroy the house,
Yep.
according to the FEMA requirements, do we lose that FEMA money? Is that at risk here? And I'm fine if it is, because I'm
be.
assuming we're at 500 grand or so, somewhere in that ballpark.
It might be.
Right, so.
I don't know what that looks like. I
But
think
that's
that's
on
what we're trying to
that's gonna
figure
land on
out.
the state, it's not gonna land on the family,
It will land on the town.
the town.
Yeah.
Okay. And perhaps, okay, but it won't land on the family.
No.
We know that.
No, they've been paid. The town owns it.
Yeah, but being paid and saying, now you owe us a back is,
Yeah.
that's could potentially happen, but, okay. But we don't, okay,
Oh, sorry.
I'm good, I'm good.
I have another question too, but Kevin.
My quick read says we're voting on whether we give them a 90-day reprieve or not. That's what I'm seeing as the bottom line here. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're trying to get 90 days
Right.
to do some, and this is a resolution, so, we're saying, give us some time to
Right.
figure out.
So when does that 90 days end? If this is approved?
Depends on when this gets moved to the floor.
90 days from that.
90
No,
days.
It's not based on FEMA's
Okay.
granted delay to
Sometime
demolish.
in September.
Yeah. I would say it would be when this is approved by the legislative body.
But that's something we'd want to put on our list of things to ask if we get other witnesses. Because that's one of the questions I had too, is like, what does this buy us? Is FEMA saying if we do this, that they're like, hold up, we'll wait. We agree that we're gonna wait because the legislature did this? Or is it like, we just went through a performative measure that made us feel good that we're trying to protect something, but FEMA's like, no, dude, it's gone. I have that's my question.
Absolutely.
I think that's your question.
That
I
is
think
my
they
question.
could say that.
Right, okay.
Well, yeah,
Which
So
will
we
have
don't-
to have other people come in to testify to that effect, whoever that may be. I'm sure that Alice will work with Tate to put that together, Doug Farnham's people probably, or others that will come in and talk about that. Mary, did you have a question or?
Oh, I just said you do need to know when the 90 days,
When the clock.
Yeah.
when the clock runs out.
Right. So, Brian?
I think it's just reiterating to make sure that I'm clear on it, but so there's no obligation, right? We're not, it's showing support for the town's endeavors without any commitment beyond that.
That was our original goal with this
Yeah.
resolution.
Yeah,
Here we are.
great.
John, you look like you want to ask a question.
Scott?
Yeah.
So is there, could we possibly move, I'm sorry, could possibly move the building?
Sure. But who knows? We're just trying to buy some time here.
Who owns it?
Town.
I gotta ask the question again. I find it difficult to believe that we requested a reprieve from FEMA and they gave it to us, but they didn't give us a particular time frame. They just have it
Okay.
open-ended at this point.
So I do not know. I know that they did say we got some time before we have to knock it down. This is saying give us more time. And I can,
Give us 90 days on top of whatever you're gonna give us.
Right.
The chair and I would just stop at this.
Okay.
We'll have Laura and I don't know, maybe Doug Farning's up there or somebody come. Because
Okay.
Dan won't be able to answer that question.
No, that's fine.
And I have, because we have the same, I think 3 or 4 of us at least have that same question.
Right.
But FEMA's granted the town
90
already
days
90
from
days
May 1st.
from May 1st. So you have
There it is.
June, July and August. So by August, you really need to make a decision.
Right.
They've already granted that to you.
Hmm.
So that was already worked through with our Vermont folks who are working with
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
Got that.
So you're asking for additional time on top of that.
Oh, I think what we're asking for is just how do we, how do we not end up knocking this thing down? Like, how do we all work together to try to save this? And what time that looks like, whatever we can get, unfortunately, there's no money. So it'd be up to the historic preservation in the town to come up with the money. And how long is that going to take? Don't know.
So you'd have to pay FEMA back for the amount of money.
That's what I believe.
Buyout. Do you know how much it is for
No,
the
I do not.
building? Does the town of Johnson know?
Oh, I'm sure I could find that. I can find that out.
That would be important.
It would be good to actually have the town in.
And we can do that. I'm sorry I missed some of this. I'm dealing with something else. Sean,
So, I applaud you for giving it a shot. I think that to me, coming from the building trades, just in a realistic look at this, is that we sit here for the last 2 years and see historic preservation struggle to keep houses that are sitting on land that they own and that they can't pay to heat them. They can't pay to keep them up. We're struggling with that. I'm just trying to be realistic. I have nothing against Johnson. I would love nothing more than to put $2 or $3 million towards this house and fix it. But to move it is going to cost, $100,000 or so for a moving company to lift it up and bring it to wherever it needs to go. Then it needs to be sat down on a concrete foundation on land that, let's say, even if it was given to this, to someone said, bring it to my house and put it here. And that's going to be complicated too. It's just going to cost a lot of money.
Right.
And then you got to run power to it and maybe heat it and to keep it up. So it's just, there's a lot of challenges that we as a committee, are up against. So all I say is just, if the town does come, or it'd be great to see some numbers.
Sure.
Because that would be really helpful. But asking historic preservation at this point to do that is going to be, it's a big ask. And I just want to wrap it up by saying this gentleman who was a wonderful artist has a piece of artwork in the state capitol that is super important to the state. I just don't know how important the house is.
Right.
And the more important thing is that we preserve that painting.
Sure.
And I'm just not sure because it's a slippery slope with a lot of these FEMA houses that we're looking at. I just needed
Yeah.
to share that.
And I totally hear what you're saying. So our library in Johnson was in the floodplain. It flooded every time. We actually picked it up and moved it across town all the way over to the elementary school through grants and donations. I mean, it was unbelievable. They had to lift this thing up in the air quite a ways to get it over the bridge because of the sides of the bridge stuck up. And it's a brick building.
Right. So this can be moved.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
They moved it at night. It started at like 7:00 at night and they moved it until 10:00 in the morning.
wouldn't flood up. at
Make it
that
housing.
point.
So-
Put it up at the campus, yeah.
So I think it's just around trying to figure out how we deal with the fact that it's slated to be ripped down. I mean, could FEMA even say, okay, don't rip it down, but no one could live there. You can't do anything with it there. And if it floods again, well, it floods again. but gives the community time to figure out, like we did with the
Fundraise.
library,
Yeah.
to be able to move it someplace. So I think generally, I don't think realistically, you're gonna see state dollars for historic preservation. This is gonna be something that drops in the town's purview to be able to say, hey, this is something that we want to do. And, and there's also groups around, Medal of Honor, groups that have, resources to try to figure out if this is something that they want to get involved in and partner with the town in historic preservation.
Your concern is why I asked my question originally, because we don't have a lot of funds. That's why I
No.
wanted to know what that meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
totally
sort
agree.
of looking at the thing that if you look at the Chester A. Arthur Homestead, which is not open year round, doesn't have heat in it. And I'm not even sure who oversees it, but whether it's a
It's-
volunteer group,
No, well, it's a
that-
state-owned property.
right, that opens it. So I'm thinking we don't necessarily need to go gold plated. We could go silver, bronze, or whatever. Copper, we like copper, right?
Richard, I thought we were friends, but you just attacked Fairfield, man.
But I think 90 days is perfectly
Should
fine.
Okay. So I'm looking at our schedule. We are gonna adjourn out of this.
I know.
Yep.
Into next week is the goal. So historic president, do you know who is Laura coming to your community Monday?
Say the name again.
Laura
Trishman.
Sorry. I think so. I couldn't hear with it, but.
Yeah. And you're meeting, and this is to determine what the next steps are?
Yeah, I believe it is to work with the town to figure out, like, what does this 90 days give them? And yeah,
So it would be good to schedule maybe next Tuesday.
sure.
Town, if you could get some names of
Yep.
Wilson Johnson could come in and we can connect with Laura and just give us an update on what occurred on the Monday night meeting.
But is it also, because Richard's here, is it people from Hyde Park too that would be interested in this or just Johnson?
It belongs to the town of Johnson. I'm from Woolgate, he's from Hyde Park.
Yeah, it's
We
a
represent
member
Johnson.
district that represents a lot of towns, but the house is in Johnson.
Mhm.
Would there be any opportunity to move the house up to campus? Up to
I mean,
State College?
There is property in town that the town, that the town owns, that the
You could move
college
it.
owns. I have no idea. And I think the idea is to delay putting it in a dumpster so that you can take the time to think about, is there a possibility of,
Yeah, and if you delay it, then the question is, how much do you have to pay
Right.
back to
And-
FEMA?
and the core house isn't very big. Like, the main part's not, there's an addition off the back that was put on later. That could probably go,
Just,
When was the house built? Did you mention,
it was built in
should I
the,
read it?
somewhere in here.
If I read
Okay,
it.
so he was born in 1846, so
Okay, so
you're
it was-
probably pretty close to there if he was living there.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I do want to hear from Laura but at the same time, my biggest concern is strictly whether or not this ties us to financial support. And if it doesn't, I don't have a problem with building it out. That's,
You can always change it to say does not constitute financial support.
I don't think it says it does. I just.
Yeah, you could spell it right out in it. I mean, we made changes to the resolution we had.
To me, when I read this, I mean, it's offering support. It's a feel good measure. I have no problem with, I voted out right this second. It doesn't.
Which is our intention when we put this in. And the policy of our body is to, when you're asking us to take a position on something, is to send it to a committee.
Mhm.
So here we are.
Yeah, but I think we need to hear from Johnson. I think we also need to hear from Historic Preservation. Have you had any conversations with Doug Farnham yourself as
I have not.
legislative delegation? I want to reach out to Doug, talk with him and find out,
I believe Senator Westman has talked to them a few times.
maybe talk to Richie and find out what's going on then, just so you have a bigger picture
Mhm.
where they might be for that. Anything? No, go ahead.
I have a question for you. So let's just say, yeah, it's good for you again. Sorry to put you on the spot so many times, but so say we hear from them Tuesday. And everything seems to be what we think it is. So we voted out
Yep, it's a bill.
the bill. Yes, it's a bill. So how quickly can it get to the floor in that case?
It's a bill, so it would be on notice. If we voted it out on Tuesday, it'd be on notice on Wednesday. Last week of the session, would we have rule suspension to bring it off notice,
Yes.
to do second and third reading on the
So-
same day, and then suspend rules to ship it over to the Senate?
That's my concern. Especially if we, in
It's a
theory, are
bill.
gonna be out Friday, then
It's a bill.
we'd have to be done by Thursday here, right? In order for them to get it on Friday and be done.
At the
No
late.
doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, you
Okay.
gotta suspend
Well,
rules.
that's what I'm
to get
asking
it out.
you, what the process is. So
Yeah, you gotta suspend rules in order to move.
Mhm.
You can do that, but then the question is, it's over in the Senate. And what would they do?
Right.
Would they just do it as a regular resolution? You've got to work with your Senate colleagues
Mhm.
to figure out what they will do. But if we could get Laura Trishman and some folks from Johnson in,
Yeah, we talked about how do we do this without it becoming a bill? And this was the only thing we could do.
and it was
Here we
treated
are.
as a bill, which kind of surprises me.
Yeah.
I mean, we would- Like, okay,
As a
that doesn't work.
professional legislator, I was confused on that too.
Well, welcome to the world. Different world here than out there. So we'll do our best.
Sure.
And, we're gonna be on the floor next week at 10 o'clock in the morning to do work. We're gonna recess till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's gonna be a lot of rule suspensions to bring bills up. And, we'll do our best to get it through.
Yeah.
Gotta
All right.
on the other side.
Yep.
Sure, gets through there. Might squeak it through.
Never know.
Might want to try another vehicle.
Thank you.
Maybe another vehicle to put it on.
Sure. Yep.
All you need is resolve, that first paragraph of the resolve clause.
Yep.
You need. All right, put that back in.
Appropriately.
Yeah. We might think about that.
Yeah, think about that one.
Look for some, right, those that are already been signed.
Else?
I have a question, but I guess I don't really want to hold everybody up for it, but I'm assuming you guys have been in close contact with Richie and he has a plan on this.
We've talked to him. We were gonna put him on this but they said it can't if it's gonna be a bill.
But, okay, I'll leave it.
So we were doing a joint.
All right.
And that didn't work either.
Thank you. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So for the committee, let's go to lunch. Let's go off of here. We are on the floor at 1 o'clock. And see how long the floor is. And I haven't heard anything about, if we got to attention to the traffic, I think it's 4 o'clock that things close down or what?
That's right.
It says 5
Yes.
for the run. So you got to make sure you're out of here.
Yeah, we did.
If you're not out of here by 5,
You're screwed.
you're screwed for 2 hours.